All right, in this video, I want to go over some of the best setups of the day from Friday, June 19th. And these setups are the ones that I have in my playbook. I have 4 setups that I like: the opening range break, the momentum scalp long, the momentum scalp short, and the technical level break momentum scalp. Some examples of those from Friday that I liked that I'm going to review are Roku, Square, CRM, MU, and CHGG. So these are ones that set up pretty clean off the open. So just getting straight into it. Top-down approach, starting with the SPY. On the left here is a SPY daily. On the right is the 30-minute. As you can see, SPY was gapping up a little bit. So SPY overall is in a strong uptrend, totally disconnected from reality, going a lot higher than a lot of people thought. But overall, it's bullish. And as you can see right here, a little bit of a green candle the prior day, holding the moving averages, gapping up a bit. So the market overall is holding up. So now trying to focus on strong names. So here's SPY after the fact, had a little bit of a sell-off, but don't know that going in. Don't have a crystal ball, have no idea how the day is going to plan out, but just try to come up with a game plan prior to that happening. So some of the names that ended up setting up well, we'll just go right into it. Roku. So Roku, strong move the last handful of days. Buyers have clearly taken control from right around 110, had a big move. That prior day candle, big green candle, caught momentum, and it traded above the 200 simple moving average, which is like the granddaddy of all moving averages that a lot of technical analysis traders look at. So trading above it. So I jotted out some levels, and we'll break it down on a smaller time frame chart. So the daily looks good, 30-minute, nice and strong. Now break it down to a 1-minute chart. And this is where I have just the levels jotted. To the left, pre-market data is on. To the right, pre-market data is off. So it's a little bit easier to recognize the pattern. So I put prior day's high, which is 129.19 in the green line. Pre-market high, 129.80, baby blue. Those are just the colors that I choose. And I know exactly where a stock is trading based on those levels rather than having to flip to a larger time frame. And what does Roku do off the open? Sells off. So initial move is lower. I don't want to do anything there. Could I have tried to find a short? Yes, but overall trend is up. And a lot of times when these names have caught momentum in prior days, those dips get bought. So I've noticed that when I try to find a sneaky short, I can get caught in a rip, and that's where sometimes my losses come from. So what I try to do is I actually like an initial pullback in the morning, because then it starts to give some levels to play off of. Let things pull, and then what happens after the fact? And what do you know? This thing pulls back about 3 points, and then instantly buyers buy it right back up and take control. So now I'm looking at key technical levels, and it's a little bit clearer to see on the chart without the pre-market data. So the initial opening print high was 128.54. We come right back up to it. This is a little too far, too fast off the open, so I'm just waiting. I like when the pattern gets tight, not when it just gets to that level. So go right up to it, pulls back a little bit, and then this is where it starts to get interesting. Pulls back right to the 9 moving average, above the 20 moving average, a little bit of a flag pattern. So this is the reason why I wanted to highlight Roku, is because this is kind of a combination between my technical level break momentum scalp and just momentum scalp long. But the reason why there's a little bit of a technical level in there, even on such a, within 15 minutes of the day, is because you do have this kind of this double top right here. So 128.40, 128.50, key level, hit into resistance twice. When you test resistance, when a stock tests resistance so many times, especially when it's strong and has momentum at its back, when it breaks, it usually has follow through, especially in a strong market. So this is where it gets interesting. Just watching, and I'm watching the tape, and I don't go too insane in depth into the tape. I'm not trying to figure out what every print is. I just want to see on the pullbacks, when it starts to move higher again, does the speed of the prints start increasing? And when it does, it lets me know that buyers are in control, and then I'm just trying to get an entry prior to that technical level or the high a day. So big, strong move off the low, pulls back, a little bit of a flag pattern here. High a day is around 128.50, knowing that if Roku gets through that level, there's a chance that it probably follows through, and knowing that there's technical levels above. there's prior day's high, and there's pre-market high. So noticing that if those levels start to get broken, other participants will probably join. So once this pulls back, nice green candle, next one rips right through. I would be trying to get in 128.30s, 128.40s, trying to anticipate the break of those wick highs, and especially that high a day. And I would have given this off the low of the candle I got in on, just because it was a decent amount away. So the distance away. So the stop was 127.83. So about 127.80s, maybe even 128, just being really tight because I want this to go quick, or I just typically get out, and it has instant follow through. So nice double top high, nice technical level. Buyers clearly in control, has a nice little pullback, a little bit of a flag pattern. Anticipate that break. Goes very fast. Once in the money, my stop, this is how I do it. My stop is break even, because I'd rather have just a break even trade than try to hold it and make bad decisions. Get a nice pop through, has a little bit of a pullback. Next candle, right through prior day's high, and even get through pre-market highs. I'm a scalper. I wouldn't have held for that long. This probably would have been my out right here. Getting in 128.40s, nice pop, a little bit of a red candle. We break that high, also a whole number. Prior day's high 129.19 starts to speed up through 129.50, 60. I'm out. That's the scalp. But this was a very clean setup on a strong stock, and I'm going over this because I didn't have this on my radar, and that was a mistake. So another setup. Square daily is insanely strong. The only downside with Square is that it already had 4 green days in a row. It's extended. The reason why I think this worked out is because it has incredible momentum at its back, and all-time highs was 101.15. So you had that all-time high magnet. I'm noticing in this market, the current market conditions, when stocks are trading close to that all-time high, even if they're already a little extended on the daily, they seem to sometimes kind of push there and get there. And I think it's just the momentum that's driving the price to those levels. So looking at some levels and seeing that the pivot high on the daily was 100, so a nice even number. Looks good on the 30, nice and strong on the 30. Now break it down to a lower time frame chart. And looking at this with the pre-market data on, and then the pre-market data off. So have the pre-market high 160, all-time high 101.15, knowing that that's a possible magnet of where this thing could possibly get to. And then just going over what I see off the open. So not a ton off the open. Not a lot. No real clean price action. It does have a little bit of a channel. And as you can see clearly, that 100 is very clear resistance. Now, once it gets back through it, it does have a nice move. I don't really see a setup there. It's kind of just chasing, maybe taking it through 100, but just chasing off where it came from. Kind of came from the low of day pretty quick. So really trying to wait for a tight pattern rather than just taking it because it starts to move really fast. And then this is where I see it get interesting. So it has a pretty strong push off the low up into the pre-market high. Buyers clearly take control, knowing that there's momentum at this stock's back, strong daily, all-time high above, same theme, right there. And this is a fantastic setup. And I wish that I had taken this, but this is where tight risk, nice follow through, quick scalp move, and it sets up great. Has a strong push off the low, pulls back right into the 9 moving average above the 20. So above those short-term moving averages, telling me that it is strong. Buyers are in control right here. So the high a day is 164. Pre-market high is 160, knowing that all-time high is 101.15. So it's only about a point above. This is where the risk is pretty awesome. So right here, ideally trying to get this, I would be trying to go long, saying, all right, I think that there's momentum here. This looks like this is just a little bit of a bull flag and possible continuation, more of a momentum scalp long. Hasn't been enough data to really create a real technical level yet. It's really just big drive in price, pull back, and then looking for that next leg higher. Try to get it long 150s, 160s, anticipating that break, and also pre-market high break again. And the great thing here is this little pivot low, 125, can keep risk pretty tight. If I got in 160, you're talking about a 35-cent risk. I like that all day. breaks it, gets a fast move. And once I'm in the money, stop is break even. I like that break even trade. And then what do you know? Straight move up through all-time high. And I'm watching the tape. Get a break. Instantly it starts to slow down. I'm out. So I'm not very patient. It did go a lot higher, or a decent amount higher, but I get out. I'm a scalper. So once things start to slow down, I just bail. Decent trade. And the ATR on Square is not a lot. So expectations can't be the same as maybe like a Roku or a NVIDIA or some of those other names that I like to trade. So just understanding that it's going to be a quick trade. So I have to, if I get a quick 50 on Square, something that I have to be willing to take, because can't expect dollar moves on it. And that was a real nice trade right here. And it did end up going higher. But overall, I think the cleanest pattern off the open was that one right there. Okay, so CRM. Let's check this out. Start with the daily. So CRM caught a little bit of momentum the day before, and all-time highs on CRM is 195.72. So not far away. So that's what it looks like prior to today. Nice candle, nice breakout of some consolidation. Also knowing that all-time highs is not too far away. Same theme, looks good on the 30. Now break it down on a lower time frame chart. What does this thing do? So have some levels. Prior day's high, 189. Pre-market high, 189.88. What does it do off the open? Has a pullback. I like when it pulls back, because now that opening print to me is a key area. If we go over that, especially on a strong stock with momentum at its back, I think there's going to be some follow through. How much, I don't know, but just some sort of follow through. So first 1 minute candle red, then starts to find some support. Right here is where it gets interesting. So finally starts to clear 189. That's a nice green candle. Knowing that the high of day is 189.67, right? So the high of day is not too far away. Thinking that if we break that, there's a chance that there's going to be some follow through. I want to get in prior. So if I'm really good, maybe 189.50, I'm going to risk off that candle I got in on, probably round up and give it to 189. I want it to go fast or just get out. 50 cents is a decent amount of risk in my opinion. Once it breaks above the high, knowing that there is a technical level above, which is the pre-market high, in at 189.50s, 60s, breaks the high, breaks pre-market high. Few minutes later, really starts to speed up and speeds up into the whole number 191. So get a real nice move, really quick. And then that was really about the only clean pattern that I saw off the open on CRM. That's why I like to trade the open, because I noticed that the open, within the first 20 minutes, you have those huge moves in price, and being able to get a couple dollars can happen pretty quick. And then a lot of times after the fact, it's not as clean. So that was CRM. MU, I didn't even have on my radar. Wasn't even looking at this. The only reason why I want to go over this is when I look at the daily here, I don't see anything too clean. Overall it is in an uptrend, but this is kind of some ugly action here. So just breaking it down on a lower time frame chart. The reason I want to go over this, because this is a very clean opening range break. So it just gives a good example of what it looks like. And this is a very clean opening range break. So pre-market high, 51.61. What does it do off the open? It has a nice move higher, but consolidates. So it holds this move, and the consolidation gets really tight. This is about as clean as you can get. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes consolidation. I talk about the opening range break being anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes of a tight channel, some sort of tight consolidation. And then when it makes a break above the high, there should be some follow through, and usually it can be a nice move. So the high a day was 51.55. And this just kind of starts to get real tight, this candle right here. Maybe trying to anticipate it. This looks like this could possibly have been pretty hard to anticipate. So maybe using that technical level above 51.61, trying to get in before the technical level, as long as it's not really far away and not a chase. And this is great. This is where the risk can be really tight. So getting it at 51, even 51.60, assuming I didn't get the most amazing entry. 51.60 really only got, this is close where the low a day is not too far away. So 51.11 is, so risking about 50 cents can even be really, if I felt like being really tight with it, I'd give it to 51.40, 51.30. The ATR and MU is not a lot. So the risk can be really tight on it. And here's a great example. It gets the break, nice opening range, and then breaks the opening range and has some very nice follow through. Now, the reason why I don't really trade MU much is because it does not move a lot. So I like the big ATR name so I can get big moves fast. This has nice follow through and a nice move on a stock that doesn't have big ATR, but just something that I normally wouldn't trade. But this is a textbook example of a clean opening range break. Nice consolidation, breaks the high of that, and off we go. And then I got one more example of CHGG. So I didn't even have this on my radar. When I look back at it, it had a fantastic move. So this has a ton of momentum at its back. I believe this was an earnings gap. It's since held that earnings gap up, got over some of the moving averages, and now it looks really good. And it even made a new all-time high on Friday. But right here, so prior to that candle, this is what it looked like. So that prior pivot high was 64.78, and it was trading a little bit higher in the pre-market, knowing that prior pivot high, so a technical level, 64.78, and then all-time high, 67.98, and I believe that this has high short interest, so there's a lot of people short the stock. Factoring all that in together, has momentum at its back, the overall market is strong. Now break it down on a lower time frame. So with the pre-market data, it was trading above a lot of the pre-market. The prior day high, 64.78, and then 67.98, and then this is what it looks like. So this is another great example of an opening range break where it gets pretty tight off the open. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 9 minutes, 8 minutes consolidation on that ninth candle, started to move towards high day with the technical level above. Not a lot going on within the first 8, just consolidation. It catches up to the 9 moving average. Big green candle, buyers clearly take control. The high day was 64.67, knowing that prior day's high is not too far away. Try to anticipate that a little bit, maybe 64.60s. It goes really fast. Hard to get in way before that. So 64.60s. Risk. And the cool thing with this is low a day isn't too far away. So I would probably just give this whole number, risking about 60 cents. This has bigger ATR, so I have to be a little bit loose with the stop. If I felt like being really tight, maybe 64.20, risking about 40, 50 cents. And once it starts to go, this is an example of an outlier. This does not happen every day. This is a huge move. So it goes through 64.60s, and then look at that next candle rip on high volume. Goes, I'm out. This candle, I'm out. You get 64 all the way up to almost 67 in this probably happened in like 30 seconds. Take that 2.5 point move, I'm done. It does go higher, but I take the quick move. And to get it over a 2-point move that fast, to me, that's worth taking regardless of what it does after the fact, especially with my scalper mentality. Those were some of the names that I thought set up well. And I like going over on some of the things that I didn't trade and how I could have possibly traded them or how I would have tried my best to trade them, because it's just that pattern recognition, the same theme, and then you go over it 1,000 times and eventually it's just that that's the process. That becomes your process and you can start applying that to every single day. And otherwise, until next time, see ya.